I wanted to jump on here real quick and talk about how to leverage AI with ProjectTeam.com. As many of you know, ProjectTeam and one of the biggest differentiators of our system is just the flexibility. And that becomes really powerful when you combine kind of the core platform flexibility with the power of AI. So using your favorite AI tools, whether that's chat or Claude or whatever it might be. In this video, I want to kind of show some examples of interacting with, in my case, Claude, and I'm going to be using my phone, which I have up on the screen here, and how that changes information in ProjectTeam. Okay, and the benefit of that is now I have a connected system. My ProjectTeam is my single source of truth that has all of the data that I need about my projects, and then I can extend the functionality using my favorite AI tools. Okay, whether that's creating data, updating data, creating customizations on my forms, okay, which is one of the big strengths of ProjectTeam, or even building reports and dashboards to take all that information that I have in my system and give me an output that I might set up to whatever I need it, my boss or whatever it is. Okay. So in the next couple minutes here, I want to show some examples of that to kind of highlight the flexibility and the connectedness with some of these other tools that you might be using on a daily basis. So I'm opening up my phone here, and the first thing that I want to do is kind of talk into my phone and ask it a very simple question. Okay, so I'm going to use the microphone to say, do I have access to the Grand Junction project? Okay, and I'll submit that. I've hooked up ProjectTeam to Claude using an MCP here. So you can see that I've asked a question, or I've prompted, and it's going through and finding the information. The first thing it sees here is, yes, you do have access to the Grand Junction project. And on the other side of my screen, I do have ProjectTeam up on my computer. Okay, so I'm using my phone for Claude. Let's say I'm out in the field in this case, in this example, and you can see information in ProjectTeam to make sure that we get good results. Okay, so my first question is true. Do I have access to the Grand Junction project? Yes, and that's great. Maybe something more realistic might be, how many RFIs do I have on the project? Okay, and I'll submit that. It'll look through the project data that I have, because again, ProjectTeam is my single source of truth, figure out how many, in this case, RFIs, and what we call RFIs in ProjectTeam is a request for information. So it's making that translation. An RFI means request for information and giving me the result. I have 23 RFIs. And if I actually go over in ProjectTeam, right, I can see if I click on that, I do have RFIs, 1 through 23, like it said. Maybe I actually want to create a new RFI from my phone while I'm at the job site. I certainly could do this from ProjectTeam, but I'm used to using Claude or whatever it might be. So let's go ahead and do that here. So I'm going to go in and say, create a new RFI about the paint color in the admin offices. Specification references 2 different paint colors. We need confirmation on which one should be used. Okay, so in this case, I have an existing RFI log. You can see on the left side of my screen, I don't have an RFI right here about whatever I just said, the paint color in the admin offices. I asked Claude to actually create that piece of information for me. Okay? So it's going to go through here, understand what tools it has available, like what ProjectTeam has surfaced to make that something that it can create. And boom, now it says it created that RFI. It automatically numbered it 24. I didn't tell it to do that, but it automatically numbered that based on what existed on my project. It gave me a subject, paint color confirmation admin offices. It put a date requested, so it automatically put that in there. And then from what I said, it created a new question within the RFI that I can kind of review and find that information. Okay. It's also telling me that we have different references about information. Do we want to reference any of that? I'm going to say no for now. Okay, so that's on my phone. If I check out ProjectTeam, so I'm actually going to refresh my screen, it'll show me here that I have a new RFI called Paint Color Confirmation Admin Offices in ProjectTeam, number 24, and I can actually click on that and view the data that it just created. Okay, so it took my prompt, which is a pretty simple prompt, put all the information that it needed into the question, and now it's an RFI that's ready to go. If I wanted to workflow this or share this out to another user or whatever from my phone out in the field, I could certainly do that, and Claude would automatically take care of those tasks for me. But you can see how easy it is working in my favorite AI tool, again, and this one is Claude, and how that's updating information in ProjectTeam. Okay. Another example might be like field reports. Okay, so in this case, we just looked at RFIs. I'm going to go over to field reports and talk a little bit about that. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to say I need to create a new field report. It's going to say that my site visit is completed, the drywall installation is underway in the admin offices, progress is tracking as planned. There's no safety concerns that were observed. Paint color confirmation remains outstanding and should be resolved before finished work. Okay. So in this case, we were looking at RFIs. Now I'm going to switch over to another tool. Let's say it's a field report, and create that from my phone. Again, I never have to log into ProjectTeam. I'm just doing this from my Claude, and it's taking care of creating that information for me. Because I'm speaking into my phone, maybe the way that I talk or whatever it is might not be fully understood. So you can see here, it flags some difference or some issue that I had when I was talking and called it a fuel report instead of a field report. But it's smart enough to know that and keep working towards that, okay? When you're setting up the MCP within ProjectTeam, you can decide what it should have access to and what it should not, okay? So you can decide, do you want it to automatically do things on your behalf? Do you want it to prompt you every time you ask it a question so that you can confirm that before it goes off and does these things? However, in my example, I wanted a new field report and it says it was created. Back in ProjectTeam now, if I check that out, so I'll click on Forms and Field Reports, there is that site visit, admin offices, drywall progress, and if I click on that, I see the information that it added, okay? My ProjectTeam field report is extremely simple right now. It has a subject, a date, and a work description. But what I said in the beginning of this video is one of the benefits of ProjectTeam is how flexible the system is, and you can create unlimited customizations within the tool. And given my access, even though I'm from, let's say in this example, out in the field on my phone, I can even customize ProjectTeam working through Claude. Okay, so in this case, I want to add like the weather, something about the weather on this field report, and I want that to be true for all my field reports on the project. Okay, so I'm going to ask Claude now, create a new field on the field report to track weather, and update that field on the latest field report that we just did with the weather that is on today's project. So in this prompt, I'm going to do two things. First, I want to customize my form. So whatever you can think of from customizing the way that you want your forms to look and feel, you can do that within a ProjectTeam, of course, because of all the customization tools, but all of those are available within your AI tools as well. If I'm asking it here to create a new weather form, weather field, it'll go ahead and create that. And I asked it to update based on today's weather. I did not give it today's weather, but it'll look at the address of my project, understand the weather from that day, and put that right into this field. Okay. And it'll show me here a summary of what it actually did. Okay, and I can see that information. On the left side, if I look back into ProjectTeam now, I see subject, date, work description. But if I refresh my form, I see weather has been added. Okay, it says sunny and hot, about 98 degrees, 64, dry, whatever it is. Okay, what's also really cool is in ProjectTeam, you can add things like help text when you're creating custom fields. It actually did that for me. So you can see weather and then a little question mark there. If I click on that, it'll show me exactly the help text that's helping the users understand what they should be putting in there next time they edit this manually. Okay, so it's very, very cool that you can interact with the system and do that. The final thing that I want to show is pulling all that information together. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, I just talked to my boss about getting him an update on the current status of, let's say, RFIs and field reports. Can you create a report with some dashboard type of visuals that I can send over to him? And then also write an email that I can use when I send that. Okay. So now I have all the RFIs that I was tracking, all the field reports, in this case, maybe just one or two. But I need to pull that data into something that I can share and tell my boss that, yeah, I'm doing the things that I need to on my project in a good way. And now I want to put that in a structured view, not just send over, silly data. Okay, so I want Claude, in this case, to automatically read what I have in Product Team, pull that together in a nice visual that I can share, and then even write an email to me or that I can send that over. And it's pulling up, in this case, a dashboard now, and we'll see what that looks like. So here it built this really nice output for me that says, I've got this Grand Junction Regional Airport Access Road Improvement Project. Here I've got my project number. It's titled RFI and Field Report Summary. I see 24 RFIs, all this information. It's pulling all the cumulative cost impacts that I have across those RFIs and the schedule impact. It tells me which RFIs are the most important, the ones that need attention, or maybe the one that I just created a couple seconds ago. And then it shows other information that's happening on the project. So this is a really nice report. I didn't have to be a report creator to go in and create all this in a certain way. Claude is just doing this for me and it's ready to go. If I X this out, if I look down here, here's an email that I created to go with it. Okay, it says, hi, Ty. In this case, Ty is my boss. Here's the information about the Grand Junction project. Gives me all the data about the RFIs, the open items, the latest field report, and everything that I need. Okay, so now I can copy, paste this, send it over, or even send an email out of Project Team if I wanted to do that. So that was a really quick example of connecting Project Team to your favorite AI tools and leveraging the flexibility that you already have with Project Team in some of those other tools that you might be experimenting with today, which really opens up limitless possibilities in the way that you're managing your projects and making it easier for you to do your work.